Hello there. So are you feeling the eclipse energy yet? Are you feeling a buildup? Are you feeling an intensity in the air, accumulation? Are you ready for a new beginning? The new moon is about new beginnings. And this is the second Virgo new moon, which is extremely rare to have two new moons in a sign. So, you know, what could we say about that? Just that alone. Two new moons in the same sign. It's really emphasizing something, isn't it? Two new beginnings in Virgo. So I imagine that if you are responding to this Virgo energy, you're busy making to-do lists, you're getting a backlog of detailed work done, you're overanalyzing things, you're maybe being very hard on yourself, perfectionistic. Those are very Virgo things to do. You might be hyper productive right now. You might be, super cleaning or organizing or reading things that you're catching up on, especially, students and teachers, anybody who's got like coming out of the summer haze and like back to work. It's very strong with Virgo, especially two new moons in Virgo. And I think for me, I've been feeling it as just like wired and productive. Um, but I caught myself like being too much, meaning like I have Virgo rising, in case you want to know, and Pluto in Virgo. If you're born in a certain generation in the 60s, basically you had Pluto in Virgo, and so when something comes along and activates this. I mean, I sat at a cafe yesterday and I made like 7 pages of notes of to-do lists. Yeah. Now, did it feel good? Yeah. Uh, did I miss a detail of anything that I did not write down that needs to be done? Yeah, it was pretty thorough. But did I come home and feel just like wired? You know, heart's been racing, like blood pressure's been higher. And then I had to say, okay, like I love that feeling, of getting things done. I think a lot of people do. You love it when you feel like all the details are in place and you're writing things so organized and it's all meticulous and you're like, great, this is thorough. I'll just go back to this as my reference point, as my check, check, check. I did this. And when you get, brain freeze because you've got so much to do, or you have a window of time and you're like, oh my gosh, so many things I want to do or need to get done, then you can go back to this master list. But I have to, and I think for a lot of us, we have to learn the art of like not just shutting down, when that energy's afoot too, because a lot of people will just be like, oh no, it's too much, too much, too much in my head, can't process it, can't relax. And then they just go chill and avoid life, or they go, whatever, they drink or smoke something or they eat, or they play video games or whatever they do to escape the Pisces side. Ugh, my endless quest for the right lighting in this window. There. Um, and so the lesson though is also not to go the other way, like I sort of did, where you get really hyper and almost like OCD level of like getting her done. It's really trying to find a new way of looking at productivity and the pace of productivity and getting things done. And for me, that's been like a constant life lesson. And if you're a Gen X, you're probably like me. It's a constant life lesson with Pluto there. We're capable with Pluto and Virgo of moving mountains of meticulous information and detail. But should we? And can you burn yourself out or start spinning out, you know? This is also the time of year. I will just link this to our health and to Chinese medicine for a moment. This particular time of year, end of August to the equinox, I might be off in my dates, so if anybody does know, you can message me. But this is the time of year ruled by the spleen. And the spleen is responsible for digesting your food, turning it into energy. I'm not exactly sure how it plays a role with the blood, but it's very important, has a very important role with your blood. I mean, the liver is the main one, but the spleen has a big role as well. And it's also responsible for your thoughts. And if you are overthinking, and if you don't give yourself time to digest everything coming at you, then the spleen can be out of whack. And then that creates worry, anxiety, you know, going down these tangents and rabbit holes and fears. And it also relates to the spleen likes to have, you know, cooked food, not raw. It does not like sugar or cold or wet food. So ice cream is like the worst thing you can do when you're worried. But what do we tend to do, right? That's what a lot of us do. So just calling attention to that, because it's a very particular time of year for that organ, and it relates directly to Virgo themes. So right now, before we launch into this chart analysis, I'd like you to sort of look at and ask yourself, you know, on the scale of 1 to 10, are you like running away from things you need to think about and do and get done? Or are you on overdrive? Like, where on the spectrum are you? And you can know by how much anxiety you have and by how well you're taking care of yourself and your diet. And if you're giving yourself ample time to just rest and reflect and process. I think that's a general rule anyway, but right now it might be really spotlighted. And of course, there's so much happening. We can't escape. It's very hard to escape this news cycle, let alone everything going on with everybody else in your life that you know and in yourself. And so we really have to take good care right now so you don't live in a state of unbalance and worry. All right, I'm gonna try to get this spotlight off my glasses. Does it look like I've got a star on my... Anyway. Okay, enough of the silly. Okay, I need to see, but I don't like the spotlight on my glasses. See, I'm Virgo rising too. I'm just nitpicking all the details that are uncomfortable or not perfect, but it bugs me. All right, let's take a look at our chart. And before I do, I always forget to do this often enough. If you're interested in developing your intuitive gifts and you want to have a community where you can share and just be prompted to ask yourself questions intuitively and share what you pick up in a safe group. And you know, I present a number of different exercises and tips and tools and stuff in my Intuition Cafe group, which is free to join on Facebook, and I will have the link to that below as usual. But I highly recommend that you join that if you're having trouble trusting your gut, or if you want to take things further. And you know, a lot of people in the group are more introverted, so they don't necessarily weigh in all the time, and you have just a little bit of space, you know, by being asked, what's your vibe of this, or what's your vibe of that? And nobody's judging your answers, including me. It's just a way, you know, to start it awakens it, right? If people ask you something and they call attention to it, then it awakens it. And so that's sort of what the group is there for, amongst other things. So it is free to join. All right, let's take a look at our chart. It is a bit of a doozy. And this computer is very slow today. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So as usual, cast for the Eastern time zone. Our eclipse is a partial solar eclipse this time. And because it's partial, I mean, a full eclipse is going to feel more intense than a partial eclipse. But thus, it's still an eclipse. So something can seem to disappear. Could be a person, could be like incommunicado, and then they come back. Could be like, oh, I thought we were dating, and then turns out they come back. Could be in the opposite direction as well. Could be opportunities that you thought were there, and then now they're not, and then they come back, or something else comes in its place. But that's the kind of energy of eclipses, right? Is something seems to go dark, and then we can't really see it again until the sun comes back and reveals it and sheds a new light on it. But while the times were dark, while the sun eclipsed it, the moon, even though it's a dark moon, we won't really see much with the solar eclipse. I mean, it's partial. You might see a bit. But the energy of like something coming to light, it's taken away or it goes dark, and then we're left with a new perspective, because when something seems to disappear or it's hidden, it's like a temporary feeling of a loss, or what would things be like if, and then when the light comes back again and shines on it, now you see it clearer. So it can help you just process something. Let's say it is a job opportunity and you think it's great right now, and then whoops, something seems to be going funny. You haven't heard from the people you thought, and now maybe I won't even get it. And then you start to sort of process, well, what would that mean if I don't get the job? And then maybe the sun comes back, poof, there it is, comes back. Opportunity wasn't lost. But now you've had a chance to think about it in a new way. So maybe you still really want it even more, or maybe you don't want it. So that's the kind of thing. I'm just going to check if this solar eclipse is visible in Canada. And it says yes. Oh, no, that was for 2024. Partial solar eclipse will not be seen in Canada or the US. Okay. So you'll just feel it, you won't see it. I'm just going to zoom in on this a little bit now. Oh, not that much. Here we go. All right, so as you can see, we've got these pretty dramatic aspects here. Pretty dramatic. So we'll start with that because that is our new moon. 26 degrees, sun is at 28. South node is at 18, not really conjunct, but close enough. And Mercury is pretty much conjunct. It's within 7 degrees, so it's conjunct, or 9. But Mercury's in Libra. So, you know, like I said, Sun, Moon, and Virgo plus Mercury and Libra is going to be very particular. They care about how things look. They care about how things are said. They care about things being named properly. They care about things being organized well. Usually this combination right on the cusp of Virgo Libra has amazing taste. So they can be quite picky, you know, about what they want. Like if you're going to redecorate with somebody that has these aspects, well, they know exactly what the look they're going for. You know, they know exactly the look and the feel, and they know how to get it. Whether even if that's with their clothing or with the way they present something on a report at work or the way they write something, they know what they want. Okay. And so hopefully you have more clarity on what you want too. It just really highlights that whole thing of being very particular and also like a design aspect to it. Like a Mercury in Libra brings like an artsy, an aesthetic, a harmony that they're desiring mentally from this. So people might be willing to talk out, could be arguing too, but they could be willing to talk things out a lot more now than usual, like to really dive into the nitty-gritty, the splitting hairs kind of thing, you know, which a lot of people hate doing. But sometimes, you know, it does need to be done, especially if it's like a negotiation or a contract or something you're signing up for, even a relationship. You know, if you're getting serious with somebody, you're moving in, or the way the household has to run, because now the kids are in a different phase of life. There you are. You've got to discuss a lot more details, a lot more things. Virgo and Mercury and Libra also, they love to have things efficient. Libra wants it to look good too, but it has to be efficient. And so you might be willing, you know, you might be having more of those talks. The planets do fall in this 10th house though. So this can be related a lot to your career moves. So, and it also highlights, you know, how you're seen in public, your reputation, because the 10th house is, you know, reputation. And South Node in Virgo in your reputation, yeah, maybe not so fun. Maybe there's things coming up from the past, people remembering your past or bringing it up. It's not fun. I mean, if it's good stuff, great. You get highlighted for things that you've done in the past, but it could highlight things you don't want. Otherwise, as I mentioned, in the 10th house, it could be a lot of negotiations with authority figures. That could be your boss, that could be your landlord. This 10th house can also be authority, it can also be governments. There's a lot going on in this sector. I mean, there's a lot of things being scrutinized and, you know, as we've seen south of the border, people getting cut from their departments. But even here in Canada, we've had, you know, people leaving their positions in government and moving more towards positions in Europe. So it's just a difficult thing to describe more than I have, but there's just all this scrutiny to detail right now going on. And there's new agreements and contracts being signed. Now, what's it opposing? Because look, these red lines are pretty dramatic, aren't they? It's opposing Saturn and Neptune. Not easy. Really not easy. So this means that, let's say in the case of home and landlord issues and legal matters, Saturn and Neptune are in the house of your family and your home. So there could be things that come up to be redrawn or renegotiated with where you live, or again, within your family structure. So that means, like, you know, if it's just internal dynamics in a family, then you're probably going to see like I said, new chores, new routines, new places we put this, new days that somebody has to go pick up somebody there, logistics. But also like there's definitely some people resisting it with Saturn and Neptune. Like there's people just wanting to space out, flake off, not do anything. So you might, this could be the proverbial teenager on the couch. I've told you you have to make your own lunch. Whoops, you forgot. Well, you don't have a lunch today, buddy. Or, do you go and make it again, even though you told them and told them? You might have those issues going on. Could also be like managing kids back to school and homework. There is enormous pull with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces in the fourth to just cocoon, stay inside, chill, flake out, and do nothing. And you might be feeling that too. I already brought that up, but not in the context of this house. You might also be feeling like you don't want all this focus on your public persona and how you're coming across and whether you've written the right thing and whether people are scrutinizing your work or your reputation. You might just be like, oh, I'm just gonna stay home and eat donuts and watch Netflix. Saturn and Neptune in Pisces both have retrograded. And actually, well, still 49 degrees Aries, but Neptune will be retrograding back into Pisces as well. But it's like 0 degree. It's right on top of Saturn, which has retrograded. So Neptune has retrograded too, I see, but it's just not back in Pisces yet. Oh. It's just got a very internal, introverty, stagnant kind of feeling to it. And then you have all of this details going on. Analysis, mental you have the overthinker and the, oh, wow, spaced out, opposing each other. There could be things going on in, like I said, in your home life, your family life or your actual dwelling. Now, thankfully, nothing else is really affecting Saturn and Neptune in a bad way. In fact, you've got Jupiter up here helping it out in Cancer. And obviously making a loose connection to the planets in Virgo, but it's really emphasizing more strongly the Pisces side of things. So could you find, and it's also in the 8th house of other people's money, could you find some extra help, some, maybe it's loans, maybe it's people helping you out financially to give you a bit of a cushion. Maybe it's something that just brings a bit of nurturing and comfort to the situation. You might find people that step up, or even, yeah, I mean, the 8th house, it could be an outside body, you know what I mean? Like applying for co-op or social housing to live in. It could be new programs or government grants or something that helps people, homeowners or renters, because things have been tight. I'm not sure 100%, but Jupiter supporting Saturn and Neptune and the North Node in the 4th with other people's money. And, here in Canada, Carney did just announce like a day or two ago that they are going to be making it a lot easier for people to build and to have new housing projects going on. So, but it might trickle down for you personally. Now, what's supporting the Virgo side of things, the overthinking to-do list, precise, picky, I know what I want, laser-focused reputation kind of stuff. And what's affecting that is actually Pluto. Pluto's making a trine to that in Aquarius. Pluto is it's a force to be reckoned with for getting her done as well. So it's a really funny mix of a chart, right? You've got like get her done people, like go, 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 go. And oh, avoid, avoid, avoid. I don't want to. I want to stay home, hide. I need help kind of people. There's a divide. You know, you can feel it in the chart with the massive red lines crisscrossing the chart. There's a wall or there's a divide. Now, what else is going on? We've got these really nice, many blue lines, many trines here going on. So, as I mentioned, Jupiter, trine North Node, trine Saturn, trine Neptune. You know, on it in its own right, that's great for creativity. That's great for nurturing and closeness in your relationships. That's great for bonding more with your kids or your mom or your dad or, you know, your grandparents or whatever. It's great for, maybe it helps even increase relations with said landlord, janitor, whoever, you know, people that are connected to your home life. So that's lovely. And you might be sprucing things up, or you might be happily cocooning inside, you know? And then you've got the extroverted out there, work, 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 get her done people just like on fire right now. And Pluto's helping them like move mountains. Some of you are just really going to be, like I said, super productive and getting a lot of things accomplished and moving your life forward or moving things forward for others too. Now, where we have another nice trine is Uranus comes in here. It's making the sextile to Saturn, Neptune, the cozy stay home. But it's really making the trines, 3 of them. So even though it's in Gemini, because we're in late Virgo and early Libra with Mercury, Uranus is trining. Now, I mean, with that example I told you at the beginning, you know, that I had of like a 7 or 8 page to-do list. Like, you can't get more Pluto, Uranus, and Virgo than that. Like, madly, and it was only on 1 coffee. I didn't have like 5 coffees either. It was my mind. It was not the caffeine. And I did it in the early evening at a beautiful calm cafe by the water. It was dead quiet. It was great. But that is totally that energy. Okay. Uranus, lightning speed, fast, multitask, Gemini, doing 7 things at once, writing a to-do list that lasts me, you know, I won't get all of this done in the time frame that I'm hoping, but I got it all down there, you know? The intention is there, the list is there, in detail. You come out feeling like, whoa, I'm so organized. And then you step back and you're like, oh my God, do I have the energy for that? Will I be as, yes, you can write down perfect plans, but you don't always feel well. You don't always have the motivation to fulfill them unless you are on a complete adrenaline trip. And I would suggest with Pluto and Uranus trining these Virgo Libra planets, you might be on adrenaline. You might need to watch also your blood pressure and your heart rate right now, and that your mind isn't spinning out. And so, like I said, for some of you, if you can manage it, like, oh my goodness, you're gonna get done. And others of you are going to find this just so intense that you're going to withdraw. Now, as I mentioned, the lesson of it then, with all of this polarity, the lesson of it is, how do you pace yourself? You know, even little Venus is over there in Virgo at the top of the chart. So the desire, even though it's not making an aspect with the rest of it, it's making an aspect to Chiron down there at late Aries. Even Venus and Chiron, they just want to get things done and heal, you know. Venus Chiron actually is sort of nice for healing. Why? Because now you're turning the Virgo energy of wanting to be sovereign and wanting to purify your body, wanting things to be methodical and efficient and clear and clean. It's not about being perfectionist and running yourself ragged. Then Venus and Virgo trining Chiron would be much more like, okay, how do I use these tools that I know, use the knowledge that I'm finding out? How do I create, routines and schedules that are supporting my health and healing? How do I address my wounds, Chiron and Aries, with a little bit of structure and discipline without going full on, 120 item to-do list? So you might get the burst of energy or of overwhelm or of demand, because you might be receiving this energy from others who have made their to-do lists and that's not you. But you might get this intense wave of demands and energy and details that you're responsible for suddenly. But if you can lean into this Venus and Chiron, it's like, okay, no, point taken, to-do list made. Now let's really take a breather here and go, how, what's realistic to actually fulfill? What does that mean? What do I need to do in order to get this rolling? And if it's the thing I mentioned about organizing your teenagers or your household, or same thing, like, do you want your family to feel like it's running like a boot camp, or do you want to have moments to enjoy each other and hear about their day and be silly without always having the next task and the next task? So there's a temperance about all of this. How important is your perfect regimen or your dream versus living life and also resting? And that's where the balance comes in, because Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune can just go, I'm checking out, no thanks, and procrastinate. Can totally procrastinate. I mean, I might procrastinate by doing fun things, creative things, or like chit-chatting with friends and stuff, but still might be procrastination. So Venus Chiron's a very nice part of this chart. And as you can see, it's just sort of sitting off here to the side, like there's all this stuff going on. And then it's just sort of like off Broadway, just a little off Broadway. We're not rejecting it and going a totally different direction. We're just saying, no, not quite this. Now, we do have some more challengers, with this, not quite a square. It's a little skewed, but it is a square. Fixed square. These are the energies you want to perhaps avoid, because there is always like tension, argument, standoff in a square. So Jupiter in Cancer, that wants to be all warm and nurturing and, oh, do you want me to bring you hot chocolate right now? And then Chiron in Aries is like, I need to find who I am. I don't know who I am. I'm not honoring myself. What can I need to like push forward and do my own thing. And I don't really want to rely on anybody, but I have to. And the wound of yourself and your pioneering element, And Cancer's like, oh, I'll just make you some tea. And Chiron's like, no, I gotta learn to do this myself. And then it's squaring off with Pluto and Aquarius, which is like, there's bigger things to think about, people. There's bigger things than just you. There's a revolution coming. Like, what the hell? Why are you worrying about your personal issues? And Cancer's like, I'll just make some soup. It's like, it's not about soup. The revolution needs to have a discussion. Then you got Mars and Libra wanting everything to be fair and diplomatic, but not very assertive about it all. So they're just trying to mediate the conversation. Oh, well, Pluto said, Mars talking to Jupiter. Oh, well, Pluto said this the other day. And Jupiter's like, why they don't like me? They don't like what I'm doing or saying? oh, well, no, I didn't say that, but they're just saying this. And then going to Pluto, well, Jupiter was talking about you as well. It's like, I don't have time for their, they're too soft. I don't have time to listen to that. Oh, but they really do care, Pluto. So, you really should listen to them. No, and then you've got Chiron and Aries squaring it all, but opposing Mars. And they're squaring off like, oh my Lord. Mars and Libra trying to find solutions, diplomatic, fair solutions. Chiron and Aries just like, you don't get it. I need you to feel sorry for me right now, okay? I need to feel sorry for myself before I move on and figure something else. I need to know that you care and that you see me for who I am instead of talking to me about other people and what I should and shouldn't do. Woo! So I think that paints the conflict in the air quite well. So, you might be stuck in that zone, which is going to be exhausting. It's much more fun to be in the Pluto Uranus. Woo, get her done, make a list. Let's go. Let's check, task. Let's go. It's much more fun to be in that. Is it too intense? Possibly. It's a lot easier to be in the avoidance, procrastination, stay home zone. I'll do it later. Yeah, I know. I had this weird dream about what I should do. Virgo is like, so do it. So the really nice space is Venus in Virgo that has a desire to be organized and a need to be organized and to eat well and to think about things in a logical way, but it's supporting your sense of self and how can you nurture yourself and your needs with your routines, with your nutrition, etc., etc. Excellent energy in this chart. All right, let's take a look at our tarot for this. See if it adds anything to our understanding. And I moved my tarot cards. Ah. And I don't know whether you liked it last time, but I'm going to bring back my real world tarot deck because I think it's fun. It's fun still. Oh, this lighting is driving me bloody crazy. Maybe I need to do my videos at night. I like the daylight, but sun beaming in on my face, hard to see, and sun beaming in on my glasses, light beaming in my glasses, not easy to see either. Can you see these cards well? That's what I care about. Can you see? There, now they're on the cards. All right, so that's the pack, the real life tarot deck. It's fun. It's a little funny too. It's a little weird, but it's fun. So I'm going to pull those this time for like extra insight onto this eclipse, new moon eclipse. Remember, the new moon is always about planting new seeds. It's a dark moon. You don't see it. You have to plant a seed, hold a new idea, have faith, and trust that it'll grow. That's a new moon. All right, so let's clarify. Is there anything else in this new moon eclipse we need to be aware of? Huh. All right, here's the card. As you see, there's no numbers, there's no words on them. It's just an interesting tree. Now, the tree, these are like, if this were real life, these are gargantuan leaves. And it's growing all alone. There's nothing else around it. In a very dry, arid place, but yet it is fruitful and huge and green. Sort of suggests, that you can stand on your own and still be healthy. There's a lot of illusion in society. Well, it's not illusion, like it's survival. It's our, it's in our DNA from centuries and centuries and millennia. you know, that survival is based on being part of the group and part of the pack. But we're in a weird time in history where, of course, you have to be to some degree, but you can also, lots of people can be solo and still be very healthy and happy and survive. Doesn't, you know, not forever, but for a while. So it's interesting. You might feel like you need to sort of go solo or stand alone. Let's pull another one here. Interesting. This one they call the taser. Well, isn't that sort of, that's not a very nice predictive. Well, I mean, I have to, you know, can't sugarcoat the entire interpretation of the chart. When you've got all that frenetic energy I mentioned, that for the average person means they'll like go a little overboard on their projects or their, but it can also be taken to the level of control, you know, with that much Virgo and Pluto and Uranus supporting it, making to-do lists and naming things and wanting things to be perfect and precise can become a fanaticism. So unfortunately, the taser, I mean, a lot of us feel that there will be, unfortunately, another act of violence on this eclipse. Let's hope not. Let's hope nothing like the last one with Charlie Kirk. But, you know, again, one news story can eclipse another like that in our day. And it might not be in the US either. There could be some other shocking. But the taser gives me a bad feeling about crowd violence, protest and crowd violence. Unfortunately, these planets do, you know, as I said, the revolution, well, Pluto and Aquarius is not televised, but it is happening. Look at all the protests in the UK right now. And that's just one place. All right, one more card. Oh, God. The gaslight. Well, this, I mean, I could do a whole 2-hour video just on gaslighting. We all know, I think we all pretty much know what gaslighting is now. But for those who might still be unclear, in a nutshell, it's when people try to make you confuse you to the point that you deny reality or you have a trouble deciphering what is reality. And the classic movie Gaslight, basically the husband, I believe, kept telling his wife that the lights weren't on, even though the lights were on. And he kept denying that he saw it to the point where she thought she was crazy. She didn't trust her own eyes to know whether the lights were on or not. And basically that meant that he could tell her anything he wanted after that. And I think a lot of us know we're in a period where we're being gaslit on a daily basis with fake news and reports, and you don't know now what's, a lot of people don't know what's a real news story. A lot of people don't know what's AI versus real people. So we are being gaslit right, left, and center right now. The only way to counteract gaslighting is to hold your, it sounds so esoteric, but it's really, you have to hold your own center. You have to know who you are enough and trust your gut enough that if people tell you, no, it's not, there's no sunshine outside, it's not daytime, even though you can see I'm moving the curtains and there's sunshine. You have to know that's what they're telling me and they're manipulating me. I know that's sunshine. And that can be harder and harder right now when it comes to, you know, coverage of news, especially happening somewhere where you're not living. How do you know? So holding to what you do know, hold to the things that you know for sure. Make a list of those to counteract from getting caught up and confused and manipulated. So, I mean, unfortunately, this little reading sort of tells me that there could be some crowd violence, and there will be a story spun as usual. It sounds so horrible to say that right now, but like as usual. It's sad that we live in a time when we no longer find this level of deceit shocking and upsetting enough to do anything about it. We're just sort of, oh yeah, one more shocking lie. Here we go again. All cynical. So, hate to leave it on that kind of note, but that is what it is. All right, I'm just gonna give us a little sage bath before we start the personal readings here. I just can't wait to get outside right now. The weather and the air just seems so nice and fresh. Hopefully you're getting out in nature as well. Can help counteract a lot of this mental spinning out. Like I've talked about the spleen and digesting what's going on. When there's gaslighting, we're talking next level anxiety. And when we're talking about Saturn and Neptune and the desire to avoid the world, we're talking next level avoidance and nervous system shutdown that people go through, and it's not your fault. These are larger movements of change than we have ever seen in our lifetimes. And it's normal to cope in any of the ways we mentioned. Venus Chiron is the best thing you can do. Step back. How can I support myself in a time like this? For some of you, maybe it's turning off the news and not having your phone on you for a few hours a day. Maybe it is a walk in nature. Maybe it is using your tools to clear your energy. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe you need more sleep. Maybe you need to do more art. Maybe you need to reassess how much you can get done in a time like this. You know, use your attention to purify and, you know, give yourself routines. Routines is a helpful way to counteract stress, by the way. And it can be a really small routine. You don't have to jog for an hour every morning and get up early. Great if you can, but you don't have to. It can just be, you know what? I'm gonna like have my breakfast before I check my phone. Game changing mentally and how you digest. And just give yourself a breathing space in the morning. Whatever your routine is, whatever your ritual is, just think about what kind of routines would help support your system right now. All right, I'm going to use my real life deck for messages for your sign now. Messages for your sign. There. Let's give you some messages for your sign for this eclipse. Maybe with the Venus Chiron in mind, what would be a great thing to add or subtract from your life right now to help you feel better? I like that. What can you add or subtract from your life right now? Aries. That's sort of fun. The card says glow. Glow. And it's got a few. It says soft, silk, smooth, repair, renew, and supple. Wow. My goodness. Well, if this doesn't scream that you should do something more sensuous to help you, it can be as simple as go get yourself a luxurious new body cream or hair conditioner stuff or something pampering for your body. It could be get yourself a beautiful, nice cushion cover or pillowcase that's all soft and you want to just cuddle it. You know, it's sensual and it's comforting, and it's, you know, God damn it, there's overcast days are the best for lighting. Photographers and videographers will all tell you that. Sunny days are crazy for lighting. Anyway. Okay, so Aries, it's really about find a routine of something that pampers you. Sorry to get distracted there. Find a routine of luxury and pampering. So, you know, you love the feel of your sweater, you know, you have a nice new throw blanket, you have products, you have candles, you spend, you know, extra long in the bathtub, something like that. All right, Taurus, what would be your add or subtract from your life at this point? Oh my goodness. Okay, you've got Pinocchio here. Huh. Well, Pinocchio with arrows to indicate the nose is growing. So someone is lying. Someone's around you is lying. Well, that's a pretty easy subtract. If you can figure out who around you is not being truthful, subtract. If you have been telling little white ones, you got to stop it too. Yeah, you might, not good ethics, but also you might get caught. All that Virgo in the reputation house, no. So yeah, that is a very stark message. Yeah, check your life for people that are exaggerating, always performing and charming, too charming. Doesn't mean outright liars. But still, like, you can't really trust people that are always going, yeah, oh, you know, all the time. All right, Geminis, what do you add or subtract right now? Well, okay. It says the, can you see the card? It says the broken bed. Yikes. So, well, depends why it broke, doesn't it? You were having fun going at it, and the bed broke. Well, different story. It still sort of suggests like that you're not sleeping well and that you're probably pushing too hard on something. Now, above the bed, there's a little sailboat with the sun, you know, like a happy red sail. And the whole thing, you know, red at night, sailor's delight thing. There's red bed sheets. The comforter and the sheets are red. Suggesting anger, suggesting passion. But the bed is broken, so there's something that you're doing that is like, you're going too hard at it. You're trying too hard, or you're doing it too much. It's like there's, get a feeling of like aggravation or frustration build up from overkill, overdoing it. That could be your work, but you know, might be why you're not sleeping well. All right, Cancers, let's take a look for you. It's gonna burn a little more sage and keep the energy clearing going. All right, Cancers, what do you need to maybe add or subtract right now? All right, you've got conflict. That's interesting. It looks like the head of a cow is a broccoli. That's, yeah, it is. Well, for me, that just screams like make some broccoli and beef recipes. Okay, conflict. Interesting. I mean, there's a pathway between mountains and a river, and the cow is standing over it with a head of broccoli. Well, the head of broccoli, and it's funny, it's like broccoli is called a head of broccoli. That's funny, actually. I like these witty little cards. Well, it definitely feels to me like don't get involved in other people's conflicts. Try not to create your own either. The broccoli head is weird. Like, I mean, broccoli's healthy. It's got a million little florets, you know, sort of like a brain. So does it suggest that your thinking is healthy? Although a broccoli head and there's no head, it's like, are you really even there? Sort of weird message. But basically it shows that the cow is standing over this pathway, and it looks like they're in the line of fire for someone else's conflict. And I would just suggest that you bow out, that you step away. You don't need to be there. Not your battle. And that can be hard for Cancer, because you always want to dive in and help people and intervene and counsel and pour you and, you know, help them understand or like take care of people. But in this case, no, you bow out. Remove yourself. All right, Leos, what do you add or subtract this eclipse? Oh my goodness. Well, you have a 4-pack. And you've got like a medallion on the heart. And it doesn't look like it's a particular symbol. Huh. So, I mean, Leo does rule the heart. It's funny that, you know, we're not seeing the face. We're not seeing anything else. We're just seeing the abs and the chest, which is like a show of, you know, it's a display. Look how sexy I am. It's you know, it's making yourself an object, not a person. You might want to take a look at that. If there's any way that you feel like you're being treated like an object, not a human, you know, a transaction, a thing, not a person. You know, you are more than your sexy body. It's sort of like, it makes you want to say, look up here. My eyes are up here, you know? So anyone treating you less than a full feeling human being is what you want to remove or subtract from your life. Wow, pretty precise message is that, eh? All right, Virgos, what do you need to add or subtract? Huh, interesting. Okay, that's a fun one. Oh, my shadow of my... It says screenplay, and it's got a coffee stain on the screenplay. I love it. The coffee's right beside it, but there's a stain. Well, of course, Virgo would hate that. There's a stain on my screenplay. Now it's not perfect. Maybe I should give up the whole screenplay. But no, not at all. If anything, it sort of suggests if there's a coffee stain on it, you've been using it as a coaster. You've been using your great ideas. You're not doing anything about them. They've become a coaster. So it suggests that you need to dust it off and go back to it and stop delaying presenting or fulfilling some sort of work or project that you've been wanting to do. Stop procrastinating and do it. Yeah, you know, there's a project or a book or I don't know, it could be a work report. It doesn't have to be that you're writing a play. You know, it's the equivalent. It's something that you've shelved. It could be any kind of project that you have shelved for too long, and it needs to come back out on the table. And you need to dust it off and open it and start again, start afresh. Libra, what do you need to add or subtract from your life? And there's no word on it. You've got just like the Amazon guy, kind of delivery box guy. Or maybe it's UPS. There is a little symbol on the shoulder, but it's too tiny for me to see. Where's my magnifying glass? I do have a magnifying glass, just don't know where it is. Thought I had it just yesterday. I've been reorganizing so many things, so I have misplaced it, but I can't see any particular symbol. But this is talking about boredom and monotony, right? Like, how brown can this be? Boring. Loading boxes. Woohoo. It doesn't even look like they're excited about the boxes. It doesn't look like it's, ooh, a gift has arrived. No, this is their job, and they're just loading and unloading boxes. So Libra, where have things become boring and monotonous? And that's what needs to change. And if you can't change the thing that's boring and monotonous, you have to try to look at it in a whole different way now. And if you can let go of it or change it, then do that. Delegate it to someone else for a while if you can, or make it more fun. Scorpios, what do you need to add or subtract to life right now? Menace. Oh boy, how Scorpio is that? Little black, little, cat eyes in the dark looking out the window. Is somebody spying on you, Scorpio? I mean, I don't mean to incite total paranoia, but let's face it, you're magnetic and interesting and mysterious, so there's always somebody looking. It's a particular set of eyes on you right now. And they're lurking, and you don't know what they want or what they're going to do about it. Unless that's you. Menace. Menace is not a very nice word. I mean, it's basically whatever's watching could cause harm. And if that is you and you are watching or lurking around anything or anyone, what's your intention with that? So definitely something to look at and subtract. Sagittarius, what do you need to add or subtract from your life? Oh, we've got the gaslight card that we pulled at the beginning. So do you have anyone around you that is gaslighting you that you're aware of? If you are constantly coming back from hanging out with somebody or talking to somebody at work, or if it's your partner, your spouse, if you're constantly doubting yourself after conversations, if you're rehashing everything in your mind, if you're thinking of like, next time I'll tell them this, or this is how I'll prove that I'm a good person, or you do some extra research to make your point, and you're constantly in this loop, that's probably your gaslighter. Constant, slow, eroding doubt. Are they doing it on purpose? Sometimes. Some people are unconscious that they're doing it, and others are not doing it at all. However, in my opinion, if you are constantly doubting yourself after people, regardless of whether it's intentional or not, they're not your people. Because then it turns into sort of gaslighting yourself, right? You want to fit in and belong somewhere. You want to be seen a certain way at work or whatever. You can gaslight yourself. Oh no, they're fine. No, they just mean that. Oh no, this really didn't. Yeah, this is okay with me. It's okay for now. And you gaslight yourself by constantly not being honest how you truly feel about something and staying in scenarios that are not good for you. So that's a subtract. Figure out where the gaslight's coming from. Capricorn, what do you need to add or subtract? You've got the gamer. So It could be quite literal if you're gaming all the time and avoiding life through video games, or if you are close to someone who is in avoidance mode. That definitely needs addressing or letting go of. But beyond that, there's value to these things too. It just depends how much and how long and how often you use them, or what kind of game are you playing, or are they playing. It could represent somebody that is playing games with you, but I get a feeling more of an avoidant person. And gosh, oh, there's even a little can of Red Bull beside them. Wow. Yeah, well, these planets, the Mercury, Uranus, new moon, sun, Pluto, to-do list, get her done, on acid, Yeah, that's a Red Bull kind of feeling. Gaming and Red Bull is a very apt kind of metaphor for this eclipse. Madly escaping. You want to look for escapist tendencies or avoidant tendencies in people around you or yourself. That would be a subtract. All right. Aquarians. What is your message to add or subtract from your life right now? Oh, the troll. Well, that certainly has real life implications now with the internet. Yeah, if you've got someone around you who's a troll, you have to let them go, or take a distance for now, or be clear with them. I mean, if someone's literally trolling you, stalking you, constantly opposing everything you do, watching you, or it's just sort of a person with, or something around you with just really low vibes that you'd rather avoid. Yeah, and just watch yourself that you're not trolling somebody else, because if you are, then you need to let go of whatever that is. You're trolling a person or trolling an issue. Trolling is just like, it's like stalker. It's obsessive, and it's not good. So if it's you or someone around you obsessive, that really needs to be addressed. That's a minus, a subtract. All right. Finally, Pisces. We've got a mushroom cloud. Also looks like a bit of a brain. Now, yeah, some sort of bomb has gone off, and to me, bombs going off speak of intense anxiety or drama, and you need to keep safe from it. So if it's other people's drama or bombs, you don't need to be in the line of fire. It's like Cancer with the broccoli head. You don't need to be in the conflict or in the bomb zone. And if it's, if it's your own personal bombs going off inside your mind, anxiety, intense fear, intense avoidance, something like that, you need to take better care of yourself with that. You need to stop avoiding taking care of yourself. Maybe that's the overall message, because if you're in the line of fire of someone else's bombs when you don't need to be, then that's also not very good self-care. So it would be really good if you remove yourself from drama and conflict and things that are causing you intense anxiety. Otherwise, it looks like it's sort of welling up right now. So there's a situation you have to face. All right. That concludes our eclipse reading. I hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. Please like and share. And please join my Intuition Cafe and come on over and learn to develop and practice your intuitive gifts as well. All right. See you next time.